Another Bitcoin mining giant goes down, and Russian grandmas mine more Bitcoin than you do. And let's just get into it, guys. The first big story of the day, of course, has to be that DMM.com, the e-commerce giant in Japan, who famously back at the end of 2017 said, we're getting into the Bitcoin mining game. This is going to be amazing. We're going to make so much money. Invested a lot of money and has lost a lot of money. Unsurprisingly, these newer players didn't last very long as the price went down. This, of course, is just one of many stories of mining companies getting washed out. This, of course, comes just days after GMO Internet, who was a big hardware producer for Bitcoin mining and also a big miner themselves, reported that they will also be shutting down operations. Both Japanese companies, both going under. So I guess the appropriate thing to say is, sayonara, guys. It's unfortunate, actually, because honestly, it was a really good thing to see these companies coming in. They just came in at the wrong time, because for far too long, Bitmain has held an inordinate amount of power when it comes to the production of Bitcoin mining hardware. The competition was a good thing, but hey, if you can't compete, then you're not much competition, are you? See you later, guys. Over in Russia, babushkas, or grandmas, are loving mining Bitcoin. Cute story, actually, from the BBC about some old ladies in the central parts of Russia that are getting into Bitcoin mining. Now, the interesting thing, and why these babushkas are so optimistic on the future of Bitcoin and are enjoying their mining experience, Central Russia has some of the world's cheapest power rates. And so for these grandmas to have one or two miners running in their basement, it doesn't cost them very much. They're looking at a cent or a cent and a half for electricity, which compared to most rates everywhere is super cheap. So they are very competitive in their mining currently in these central Russian regions. To see grandmas doing it just makes it extra cute, doesn't it, guys? Grandmas and Bitcoin. Match made in heaven. Just a little bit south of the Russian border, the Republic of Abkhazia is turning off power to cryptocurrency mining farms. Now, in total, it's about 9,000 kilowatt hours of power that has been taken away from these cryptocurrency miners in Abkhazia. So there weren't any giant, super large scale operations happening there. The equivalent of about 1,800 houses worth of power, which, you know, for Bitcoin mining, that's not a crazy amount of power when it comes down to it. So there were some smaller scale operations, but the government is saying that it's a temporary measure. This might be something that can come back in the future, but for right now, they're cut off. These guys should probably hop on a train, take their miners, and go to Central Russia. Cheap power and grandmas to run the mining equipment for you. Great. Our Bitmain related story of the day, because you always have to talk about them when you talk about Bitcoin mining, is that BTC.com and Antpool have both lost a huge chunk of their hash power during the crypto winter. Both of these pools, of course, are owned by Bitmain, and this really shows so much of the struggles that Bitmain has been having, that there has been such a wind down on the number of Bitcoin miners that they do have actively running on the network. Of course, Bitmain famously having to lay off between 50 and 80% of its workforce in this market downturn. So even though DMM and GMO have both gone away, everyone's struggling in the current market. The hardware manufacturers have invested a lot of capital into the Bitcoin mining game, and it's getting harder and harder to sell those miners when the profit margins are so low. And to finish up, Bitcoin Cash. Fears of centralization as BTC.top mining pool crosses over the 50% threshold, controlling now a majority of the hash power in the Bitcoin Cash network. Now, it's not to say that BTC.top is going to do anything malicious. It would be going against their own interests at this point to be actually attacking the network. But I think it actually shows how small the network is currently and how we really need to see a lot more miners coming into the Bitcoin Cash network to provide more power, more decentralization to the mining network overall. But it's a pretty hard sell right now, considering what has happened recently with Bitcoin Cash and the current price point of Bitcoin Cash. And finally, a bit of positive PR for the Bitcoin Cash camp. During the recent Houston Rockets versus Boston Celtics game, they gave away some Bitcoin Cash during the halftime games, so exposed Bitcoin Cash to a lot of new people who came to the game, of course, also people who watched the game. So a nice bit of PR for Bitcoin Cash, but in terms of the PR war, Bitcoin Cash really needs to step up their game to get noticed by a lot more people. But anyway, those are my 2 Satoshis on what is happening right now with the Bitcoin mining ecosystem. You will let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed this one, leave a thumbs up on it. That would be supremely awesome. If you're new around here, subscribe to the channel. You can also hit that notification bell down below to stay up to date when I put out a new video. Long live the blockchain. And peace out till next time.